Welcome to the MarketRent Weekly Brief, your go-to source for the latest insights and updates in the real estate market. Each week, we'll bring you the most important news and trends to help you stay informed and make smart decisions. Let's dive into this week's episode.
Today, we're embarking on a really focused exploration, specifically for anyone looking to enhance the performance of their Section 8 project-based properties.
That's right. And we're thinking beyond just, simple revenue.
Exactly. We want to dive into strategic opportunities for, real and lasting enhancement. It's about understanding the market better, understanding HUD's framework. Our mission really is to illuminate these pathways within the Section 8 program that can lead to significant gains in how your property operates and, frankly, thrives.
And there are some compelling insights to share. Definitely some opportunities.
Absolutely. So let's start with maybe the most fundamental one, getting a clear understanding of HUD's market alignment policy.
Okay, so there's this common initial thought, maybe an assumption, that Section 8 rents are always capped lower than market rates.
Right. That seems to be the default thinking sometimes.
But if you look closer, the landscape is actually different. HUD policy, it supports Section 8 rents being comparable to similar unassisted properties out there in the private market.
Comparable, not necessarily lower.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The Section 8 Renewal Policy Guidebook itself, it outlines that approved rents should align with similar units, considering location, condition, amenities, services provided.
That's the usual factors.
All the usual factors. So the strategic opportunity here is recognizing there's actually no inherent policy requirement for Section 8 rents to sit below market levels.
Okay, let's really unpack that. So it's about assessing the property's true competitive value in the wider market.
Yes.
Not just sort of accepting a lower benchmark simply because it carries the Section 8 designation.
You've got it.
So how do we pin down that market position more accurately? How do we get that clear picture?
Well, that's where the HUD Rent Comparability Study, the RCS, becomes such a powerful tool.
The RCS.
Think of a professionally prepared RCS as like your property's market intelligence report. It gives you those data-driven insights you need.
To confirm where you stand.
Exactly. To confirm existing opportunities or even uncover potential ones for aligning your rents better with the broader market. It's about getting that clear picture of your competitive landscape.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, we often hear the term FMR thrown around, fair market rent. How does FMR fit into this goal of market alignment and enhancing performance?
That's a really important distinction to make. FMR versus SAFMR, or Small Area Fair Market Rent.
Okay.
FMR, it serves as a general benchmark, sure, but it's primarily used for the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Not so much for project-based Section 8.
For project-based Section 8, the RCS process actually offers a pathway to rents that can, go beyond those traditional FMR benchmarks, especially when the data clearly supports it.
Oh, okay.
The Section 8 Renewal Policy Guidebook, it actually has a specific provision for this. Option 1, it's sometimes called markup to market.
Markup to market.
It explicitly allows for this opportunity. So basically, if your market analysis, your RCS, justifies it, HUD has a mechanism built in for rents to align accordingly.
So the RCS is the mechanism to potentially move beyond those broader FMR numbers if the local market supports it.
Yes.
Are there specific thresholds then that we need to be aware of within that RCS process?
Yes, there are. The HUD RCS Threshold Test, it's based on 150% of the small area fair market rent, the SAFMR, not the wider metropolitan FMR.
150% of SAFMR. Okay, and what's the significance of using SAFMR instead of FMR?
Well, what's really interesting about SAFMR is its precision. It's calculated right down at the zip code level.
Zip code. Wow, that's specific.
It is, and it gives you a much more granular, much more accurate reflection of the specific market dynamics happening in your property's immediate neighborhood.
I can see how that would make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. This refined calculation, it can reveal pretty significant opportunities for enhancing property performance that you might completely miss if you're only looking at that broad FMR data.
Right, like in a big city, rents can vary wildly from one zip code to the next.
Exactly. SAFMR lets you see those neighborhood-specific nuances. It's a much sharper lens.
That zip code level detail sounds incredibly valuable for really understanding the local market. So how can property owners actually use this SAFMR info, put it to work?
Well, the good news is there are resources available. Tools that let you analyze the SAFMR specifically for your property's location.
Okay.
You can often see that 150% threshold broken down by bedroom size too. It gives you a really clear indicator of the market alignment opportunities that might exist right there in your area.
So you can see potential pretty quickly.
Yes, and this kind of analysis can be particularly powerful for properties maybe in high-demand locations or perhaps those that offer superior amenities and services.
Because it provides the data.
It provides the data to support improved property performance that truly aligns with those very localized market conditions.
This is, a really insightful way to gauge potential. Now, navigating this, who are the key partners in this process of market alignment?
Your contract administrators, the CAs, they are really valuable partners in this journey.
Okay, partners, not gatekeepers.
Position them as partners.
Yeah.
They play a vital role, of course, in upholding program integrity, and they operate according to HUD policies and procedures.
Right.
So when you approach them with a professionally prepared, thoroughly documented RCS, one that aligns with Chapter 9 of the Section 8 Renewal Policy Guidebook,
Yeah.
you're essentially giving them the information they need.
The evidence.
The evidence-based rationale to support that market alignment you're looking for. You're making their job easier, in a sense, by providing compliant, robust data.
So it really comes down to building a collaborative relationship, providing that solid, well-supported data.
Exactly. A proactive, collaborative approach.
Yeah.
Combined with that well-prepared, policy-compliant RCS, it just lays a much stronger foundation for achieving market-aligned rents during your Section 8 contract renewal.
And smooths the process.
It definitely contributes to a more streamlined review process and ultimately supports that shared goal, sustainable property performance enhancement.
Okay, so we've got the policies, the data like SAFMR, the partnerships with CAs. Let's talk about the properties themselves. How does a property's actual market value, its inherent quality, factor in?
That's a great point. Because well-maintained Section 8 properties, they often possess these inherent value-creating characteristics, things that are directly comparable to market-rate buildings.
Such as?
Well, think about the physical upkeep, right? The condition, the quality of the amenities you might offer, maybe a community room, fitness equipment, and the resident services you provide.
Things that tenants value anywhere.
Exactly. And the HUD RCS methodology, it's specifically designed to recognize these value factors. It does this through a structured comparative analysis that supports market alignment.
How does that work in practice?
Well, experienced appraisers conducting an RCS will carefully analyze your property's strengths. They'll identify truly comparable market rate properties, similar location, amenities, age, condition.
Apples to apples as much as possible.
As much as possible. And then they make necessary, justifiable adjustments for differences. Differences in unit size, amenities, maybe location advantages, services offered.
So it's not just about the Section 8 program label, it's about the tangible quality and offerings of the building itself being recognized.
Precisely. This comprehensive evaluation ensures your property gets credit, essentially, for its genuine market value. And that, in turn, directly supports enhanced property performance through that appropriate market alignment.
That's really encouraging.
And even properties with, say, unique features or maybe specialized resident services, they can achieve fair market recognition too, through proper, thorough analysis within a comprehensive Section 8 rent assessment.
Okay, so the physical asset matters. What about all those things beyond the unit walls? The services, the amenities, you touched on them, but how are they valued?
Yeah, a well-executed RCS is specifically designed to capture and accurately reflect all those distinct features and services, again, through these principles of strategic market alignment.
And HUD provides guidance on this.
Oh, yes. HUD guidelines mandate that appraisers consider a whole array of attributes. Obviously, unit characteristics, size, layout, design, but also the property's overall condition, maintenance, any recent renovations?
Amenities, too.
Amenities, absolutely. Fitness centers, community rooms, playgrounds, whatever you offer. Services are key, too. Things like security, transportation assistance, wellness programs, even utilities, whether they're included.
And location.
And location advantages, definitely. Proximity to transit, schools, shopping areas. A professional RCS includes a detailed valuation of all these non-shelter services. It ensures they are properly accounted for in the final market assessment.
So all those added features, the services, they genuinely contribute to the market value and need to be clearly documented and articulated in the RCS.
Absolutely. When your property's unique attributes and service offerings are thoroughly documented, professionally analyzed within that RCS framework, you can achieve rent levels that truly reflect its competitive market value. And that's what drives optimal property performance enhancement.
Okay, that's clear. Now, we know rents also get adjusted periodically through something called the Operating Cost Adjustment Factor, or OCAF. How does OCAF relate to this idea of proactive market alignment we're discussing?
Right. OCAF, it serves a very specific purpose. It's there to adjust rents based on changes in specific operating expenses. Think utilities, insurance, taxes, that sort of thing.
So it covers rising costs?
It's meant to cover rising operating costs. But crucially, it's not designed to capture broader trends in market rent growth. And it's not designed to achieve strategic market alignment.
Ah, okay. That's a key distinction.
It is. And what's noteworthy is that OCAF adjustments, well, they often tend to lag behind actual increases in market rents.
Drag behind.
Yeah, especially in areas experiencing rapid appreciation. So, for instance, you might see market rents in an area jump, say, 20, 30% over 5 years.
Right.
But the cumulative OCAF adjustments over that same period might only be 11, 15%. There's a gap.
So if you're only relying on OCAF, you could be leaving potential performance on the table, missing out on where the market actually is.
Precisely. That difference, that gap, creates opportunities. Opportunities for enhanced property performance for owners who are proactive, who engage in that strategic market alignment to make sure their rents stay competitive with the broader market.
So the advice then is?
Property owners really should consider periodic HUD rent comparability studies. And RCS gives you that comprehensive understanding of comparable market rents and helps you identify those opportunities to enhance your property's performance potential that goes beyond what OCAF adjustments alone can capture.
That proactive approach really does sound strategic. Now, I imagine initiating an RCS, getting one done professionally, it involves an investment, time, resources.
It does, yes. There's no question.
What kind of return on that investment, what kind of performance enhancement might a property owner realistically see?
Well, you're right. Undertaking an RCS requires a commitment, but the potential benefits for property performance, they can often create really substantial value enhancement. Let's maybe paint a picture.
Okay, a scenario.
Yeah, a typical scenario might be, say, a 60-unit property. Current average rent is $950.
Okay.
Through a professional RCS, a market-supported rent analysis, it's determined the market rent is actually closer to $1,125.
Right.
That's a potential monthly enhancement of $175 per unit.
Per unit, per month.
Per unit, per month. Now, annualize that across 60 units.
That's, carry the one, $126,000.
$126,000 in annual performance gain. And think about a typical 5-year contract renewal.
Wow, that's $630,000 over 5 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even when you factor in the cost of getting that professional RCS done, the potential for significant property performance enhancement is, well, it's pretty clear.
Those are definitely significant figures.
Okay.
And that adjusted rent, the $1,125 in your example, that then becomes the new foundation, right, for future adjustment.
That's a crucial point, yes. The new market-aligned rent becomes the baseline for all future OKF calculations.
So it compounds.
It compounds the performance benefits over the long term. It's not just a one-time bump. By proactively engaging in an RCS, owners aren't just ensuring HUD guideline compliance.
Which is important.
Which is very important, but they're also strategically positioning themselves to fully capitalize on their property's market potential through that effective market alignment.
Makes sense.
And, this is also incredibly critical during the due diligence phase if you're acquiring a Section 8 property. Getting that baseline valuation right is key for optimal future performance.
So really, at the heart of realizing all these opportunities, understanding policy, using SFMR, partnering with CAs, valuing the property correctly is having strong, well-supported documentation.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. Strategic documentation, primarily achieved through that thorough, professionally conducted rent comparability study, is the linchpin. It's what unlocks these opportunities and helps you achieve those market alignment objectives.
So a well-prepared RCS is just indispensable.
Indispensable if you're seeking to align your Section 8 rents with the prevailing market rates. And HUD's guidelines, they're quite clear on what makes an effective RCS.
What are some of those key elements?
Well, several things. Careful selection of truly comparable market properties, similar location, amenities, age, condition like we discussed.
Right, the comparable.
Accurate and comprehensive documentation of all services, amenities, utilities for that non-shelter services valuation.
Getting credit for everything.
Getting credit for everything. Applying adjustment factors correctly, according to Chapter 9 guidance, to account for differences between your property and the comps. Clear, professional presentation of the findings. That helps the CA review during contract renewal. Using the right forms, like the HUD 92273S8, following guidebook instructions.
They're justifying the final number.
Absolutely. A robust justification of the rent conclusions, supported by comprehensive market data. That includes that thorough SAFMR analysis we talked about, looking at the local rental market dynamics.
It sounds like a very detailed, very data-driven process that really benefits from professional expertise.
It is. It requires diligence. By adhering to these guidelines, ensuring meticulous preparation, property owners can make sure their RCS strongly supports market alignment, while, importantly, fully complying with HUD standards.
Which facilitates approval.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It facilitates the approval process for rent adjustments that ultimately enhance property performance.
Yeah.
So pursuing these market-aligned rents through a comprehensive, well-documented RCS, it truly represents strategic property performance enhancement.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really paints a picture of opportunity. So the key takeaway, it seems, is that strategic market alignment really driven by understanding HUD policies, using SAFMR analysis smartly, building collaborative partnerships, accurately valuing your property, and having that comprehensive documentation, it unlocks substantial opportunities. Opportunities for enhancing property performance in ways that are much more meaningful, perhaps, than just focusing narrowly on revenue.
That's precisely the key insight. It's a more holistic strategic view. And, for those listening who are wondering where to start, how to gauge their current position.
Yeah, what's a first step?
A preliminary rent assessment, sometimes people call it a phased RCS approach, can be a really cost-effective initial step.
Okay, a phased approach.
Yeah. It can quickly help you identify potential market alignment opportunities and just inform your strategic decision-making about whether a full RCS makes sense for enhancing your property's performance.
And where can listeners maybe take that next step, explore this further?
Well, a great starting point is often to use one of those SAFMR analysis tools. Get an initial feel for the market alignment opportunities in your specific zip code.
Just to see the potential numbers.
Exactly. And look, if your Section 8 property hasn't had a professional rent evaluation recently, we'd strongly recommend scheduling a market alignment consultation.
Because there might be untapped potential.
There could very well be significant untapped opportunities just sitting there waiting to be realized for property performance enhancement.
It really sounds like being proactive is essential here.
It absolutely is. And there are specialized teams out there, professionals, who focus specifically on assisting Section 8 property owners to unlock this strategic value. Right. They do it through comprehensive market alignment and rent optimization strategies.
So help is available?
Help is available. You can easily request a preliminary rent assessment, like we mentioned, to just start the process. And for anyone wanting more detailed data, more insights, deeper analysis, we definitely encourage you to visit MarketRent.us.
MarketRent.us. Got it. Fantastic resources.
Lots of information there.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful. So as you, our listener, consider everything we've discussed today, maybe take a moment to think about this. What's the long-term impact of strategically aligning your property's rents with the market? How does taking this proactive approach not only enhance your property's current performance, but also contribute fundamentally to building a more resilient and valuable asset for the future?
A powerful question to consider.
That's it for this week's edition of the Market Rent Weekly Brief. To access more insights and resources, visit marketrent.us. Thank you for listening. To learn more about how Clarendon can help you achieve your real estate goals, please visit us online. We appreciate your trust in us as your go-to source for market intelligence. Our goal is to equip you with the critical insights and data necessary to make informed decisions. Until next time, stay informed and stay ahead.